This one is on female predators. Yeah, I know there's a few man-haters watching this who are like, well, women can't be predators. Really. I want to start off with saying that teachers, that's one of the few professions where you see people actually doing something when there's accusations. Your parents still have to give enough of a shit to push the issue. In a town like this, a teacher could have sex with a student and get away with it. Depending, first of all, upon his popularity, and second of all, whether or not her parents give a shit. But if their parents give a shit and think that it's wrong for that teacher to be having sex with the student and make a big deal about it, it's not like trying to make a big deal about the police doing something wrong. You make a big deal about a police officer fucking molesting somebody, it's mostly going to fall on deaf ears in the western Nebraska panhandle. But if you go to the cops and you say, hey, this teacher is having sex with my kid, who is obviously not of legal age, I am not okay with this, something happens. Now, let's look at about the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, we have had nearly 1,000 women who are teachers arrested or charged with these crimes. They're not charged with having child porn for the most part. See, for a guy, he get into his fantasy form of mind and, all up in his cranial extremity, right there, all the way back. All the way back. He's got this thing in his head and he's living out his fantasy on his fucking couch whacking off. There have been more female teachers arrested for misconduct with children by a lot than men. Now, the men usually get busted with porn. What does this mean? It means that they're watching the act and envisioning themselves as the perpetrator. These teachers get caught with porn on their computer. They get busted with child porn on their computer, in specific, and that's what the men get in trouble for the most part. That's not to say that none of these males who are teachers are having sex with their students. I mean, each case is different. We can't say, well, all situations with a male teacher, there was no sex involved. It was just masturbation. It was some sort of nasty ass porn. But we know that's not true. We know that everybody is different. You know, when you walk into a church, that not everybody who is in that church has the same belief in Jesus as you do. You know that a lot of those people aren't going to enact anything about that religion at all once they leave that church. Sunday morning is for going to church and atoning for your sins. And Sunday afternoon is for treating people at Applebee's and Olive Garden and wherever the hell else that you go for lunch. You treat yourselves for sitting through the sermon by sinning. You haven't shown up there at that point for the meal. You've shown up there because for that period of time that you were in church trying not to sin, that addiction that you have to sin is still there, and you want to recuperate that. You want to make up for lost time. That's just weird. Now, there's a lot of female teachers who are also in trouble for the same things, except it's not for having porn, it's for actually committing the acts with those children. That's right. Shit, nobody even wants to investigate a female teacher when it comes to child pornography. Like, really, you're going to accuse a woman of having porn? You're an idiot. I know lots of women who love watching porn. They brag about how much they love porn. Openly on Facebook, public posts and all. Women are allowed to crave sex. But also, as we have seen, they tend to be more impulsive with their fantasies and less restrictive. When a woman decides that she wants something emotionally, we're supposed to give it to them. Emotionally, she feels as if you should be feeding her sex right now. Because she feels that you should reciprocate any emotions that she has. And if you don't reciprocate those emotions, there will be consequences. Americans teach their little girls to be fucking psycho bitches with this whole daddy's little princess bullshit. Mommy's little princess bullshit. I will protect you no matter what you tell them. But then you don't protect them. You don't protect them from the things that they do to others. You protect them from the consequences. Big fucking difference. You protect them from the consequences that a male would have. That's not okay. And we see a lot of these rich people, their boys are treated like girls. In that fashion or respect, anyway. That scenario where mommy and daddy will always get you out of it. But then again, mommy and daddy, for these rich kids, for mommy and daddy to go down there and pay $50,000 or $60,000 worth of bail, shit, for most of us, if our parents had to bail us out for $500, we'd have to sit because they wouldn't have the money. Or they just don't give a shit because it's going up their nose. A lot of women, instead of directly victimizing somebody because they didn't get what they want, they will manipulate others into doing it for them by running around town and telling lies. How many women do I know who do this? Nearly all of them. Women are taught to do this. When you and your mom and all of your friends and all of your mom's friends come over and do this fucking 3 times a goddamn month, yeah, when your daughter comes into this world, what's she going to learn from you? Is she going to mimic your words or your actions? She's going to do both. Your words don't fit your actions, not even close. And her words won't fit her actions. And she won't be held responsible, just as you are not held responsible. You didn't get what you wanted. The dude that you wanted to have sex with, he doesn't want to have anything to do with you because you're a fucking psycho. So you get together with all of your psycho friends and you make his life a living hell and treat him like he is a predator. You are the predator. Sandy Fromm, you are the predator. Seriously. Toby is not the bad guy in all this. Toby Smith is a good dude. He dislikes child molesters as much as I do. He just has a different idea of doing things than I do. Most of you guys, you say, the only way to cure pedophilia is with a bullet. Most of y'all who believe that way aren't willing to do it, though. You want somebody else to do it. You want to talk someone else into doing your dirty work. Here's me, I got to convince people not to. Don't shoot the son of a bitch. We need to make an example of him. If we don't make an example of him by putting him away, then we're not going to change anything. See, this stuff, you don't understand how one person presenting their case and being allowed to can change laws worldwide. See, a lot of countries follow our laws. Isn't that weird? They're like, oh, well, if the United States thinks it's a good idea, we want to stay on the United States good side, so we'll make marijuana illegal too. Or whatever the fucking law happens to be. And some of them, they're like, oh, well, if the United States says that it's bad, well, then it must be really bad because they let people in the United States do whatever they want. So if they consider it bad in the United States and they'll throw you in jail for 6 months, it's probably something we should cut off your hands or your head for. That's fucking weird too, isn't it? So we got these women who can't control their emotions. They didn't get what they want, and they can't stand it. They didn't get their little princess dealie. They wanted that fucking goddamn unicorn for their 16th birthday, and they didn't get it, Daddy. Daddy, you need to fix this. I didn't get my fucking unicorn. Daddy, you need to fix this. Daddy, you need to fix this. Natalie didn't have a daddy she could go to fix this. I don't have a daddy that I can go to fix this. First, you treat girls, you teach them that they're princesses, that they are owed. You treat those girls differently than you treat the boys. When the girl has a problem, you're more likely to do something about it. If it's a boy, you tell him he's just got to take care of it himself. If it's a girl, everybody's expected to defend her, even if she is fucking wrong. If they're boys, well, if you get into a fight, you got to do the honorable thing and do it one-on-one. There's a lot of people who won't do it one-on-one. With Chris Kurth, I said some pretty harsh things. Not towards Chris, towards KK. That's his dad. You know how many times KK has given me problems? Never. You know how many times his mom's given me issues? Never. You know how many times his sister and his brother have bullied me or harassed me? It's never fucking happened. Well, after I called him out, I got to hear a few comments that were made a little bit loud. Who they were made by, I don't know. I can't say if it was Chris Kurth's family who were sitting there or the people who were sitting with them. I really wouldn't even recognize his voice if he called me. His dad, KK. Yeah, I wouldn't recognize his voice over the phone. For some people, when there's an issue, it becomes a family problem. No matter how wrong your family is, because they're family, you owe it to them to be loyal, right? A lot of families are like, I don't have that family. My family is of the type of, if you say anything about what we did, fuck you. That's not family. All the dirty tricks that I use, I learned from others. Many of these others are women. What do I use these dirty tricks? Well, first of all, I only use them against those who use them on me. But also to show that it is wrong. It is wrong morally. If it is this wrong morally for me to do it back to them, one person against many, and these many people got away with doing these things to me. But if I do it back, I'm the bad guy. If it's wrong, it should be wrong for everyone, shouldn't it? If it's wrong for a man, it should also be wrong for a woman, and vice versa. If it's wrong for a black person to do it, it should be just as wrong for a white person to do it. Now, you also might notice that these male teachers and also administrators who get busted with this porn, they serve more time on average than these women. The amount of time that some of these men spend locked up is measured in decades. On average, the men spend years in prison. On average, women spend less than 8 months for actually having sex with a student. Less than 8 months. We go lenient on them. Now, if you consider that teachers are one of the few professions that they will do that with, they won't do that with any other profession. They just simply don't. Any other profession that is government regulated, they just don't. You have to push 100 times harder if it's a police officer who did this to you. But that gives you a more even perspective than these skewed numbers that are based upon the fact that, oh, it's a female, we should let her go. Women get pulled over as much as men. Matter of fact, they get pulled over like 1 or 2% more than men. But men get 5 times as many tickets. You see a woman, you're automatically nicer. That's not my choice. If you hear a rumor that a guy might have done these things and he ain't popular, you do all you can to run him the fuck out of town. Over a rumor. But if a woman is actually busted doing these things, shit, you're fine with it. You'll still go over and fucking hang out with her and chill and fucking pretend like everything's the way that it used to be. Hell, you'll even do all you can to help her out so she doesn't get in as much trouble. You'll put some money on her books so that she can get commissary while she's in jail. If she goes to jail. Bail for a woman in most places in the United States is less than half of what a male's bail would be. There are many places in the United States where a woman's bail is 1/10 the amount that a male's would be. Women are between 3 and 5 times more likely to be stalkers. Why? Because they know they can get away with it. Women are more likely to get physically violent with a male than the other way around. Meanwhile, males are more likely to go to jail for it. Christopher Tapp, this is a dude whose ex-wife beat on him for about half an hour. One of the witnesses that was there, his name is Matt, he said, yeah, dude, she beat on him for half an hour. He was just asking her to stop. That's all he did the whole time. Hey, stop, stop. Will you please stop hitting me? Will you please stop hitting me? According to Matt, Tammy had to stop to take a breather because she couldn't breathe anymore because she had been flailing her arms at him for so long. And then, after taking a breather, went back to beating on Christopher Tapp, aka Fuzzy Bear. Went back to fucking beating on him. And he pushed her off of him. It should be okay to push someone away who is assaulting you. You're not pushing them away to hurt them. You are pushing them away because they are actually in the act of hurting you right fucking now. A lot of women do predatory shit for their predators. You're in love with him, so you let him beat on you, and he fucking beats on you. You want to rescue, you're fucking scared. So you call up some fucking dork to rescue you. And then, when you're more lonely than scared, you go back to that dude who beat you because he's familiar. And then you treat that dork who fucking rescued you like shit. And so does that asshole. Women commit more crimes than men. That is a fact. Just because women are allowed so incredibly much leeway, so much more than men. Our job defending ourselves against rumors is fucking impossible. But a woman, in point of fact, who was caught red-handed gets less of a sentence than a man who's having to deal with a fucking nut job who can't get off of her fucking I get it. You think that because you're a woman that you are owed your kids. That because you are a woman that you deserve your kids more than a man. But that man is not strung out on heroin and you are. Christine Buhit, she at least did the smart and intelligent thing. When her ex left to go be a father to their child, at least she's honest enough to recognize that she loves heroin more than she loves her son. She has not seen her son since he was born. The only time that he comes up is when she is coming down off of heroin and wants to treat Ed like shit. He got off the fucking drugs. Christine, can't you be happy for him? Now, Christopher Tapp, here's a major point of contention. Christopher Tapp treated Tammy like shit. He never hit her. Ever. He just talked to her like she was below dirt for years. So the point of contention is whether or not Tammy had the right or deserved to beat on Christopher Tapp. Everybody, including Tammy and Matt, agree that what Fuzzy Bear had to go through in the court system was completely wrong. His predator, the woman who beat on him for half of an hour, even admits that she was in the wrong. She was the one who was beating on him, and he didn't fucking deserve that. And I did speak out. I did my best. But there's also the fact that there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know was fucking going on. I didn't know he went to prison until he got out. He went to prison for a crime he didn't commit. Tammy herself admitted that the Boulder police came over to her house repeatedly, trying to at first convince her to lie, then to coax her into lying. And when she wasn't having none of it, they came back and threatened to take her fucking kids. Christopher Tapp is not the bad guy in that scenario. Yes, he was the bad guy for years in the way that he treated Tammy. She did not deserve to be talked to like that. And he made sure to do it in public in front of all of her friends, to put her down to nothing, to make her feel like nothing. And that's why so many of her friends, myself included, have a problem with Christopher Tapp. He is still just as hateful as he ever was. He's right to be angry, but he's taking that out on the wrong person or wrong people. The cops fucked him severely. That's not Tammy. That's not me. But he can't take it out on the cops. Well, he could, but he's a coward. He can get away with taking it out on me. He can get away with taking it out on Tammy for a far lesser degree. But he can't get away with taking it out on the cops, can he? If he does to the cops what he did to me, he's not going to be walking free. He'd be incarcerated for a long fucking time. We got all these situations where you want to use these statistics of people who got railroaded because they were male, and also statistics of women who got away with it because they're female. Nearly every woman that I talk to about this, you can go through on this very fucking YouTube channel through my videos, and there are women who admit that shit. There are women who admit that they abused that situation themselves, that they themselves did those things. Those very things that I speak out about because they are evil and they're wrong. And we do teach women here in America to be like that. I know a lot of foreign women, or quite a few foreign women and foreign men. They tend to think completely differently about these situations. I know quite a few women from Europe. And some of those women, they think that it's always their fault, but not very many. Most of the European women that I know, they will admit when they screw up. It doesn't take them years. They don't stool over it or treat the man like shit because they don't want to admit they fucked up. That's an American woman trait. We in the United States, in specific, of all of these countries, the United States is the only one who does it like this. The United States is the only country where it's shameful for you to believe that a woman could commit a crime. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't women worldwide who shake their breasts at police officers or take down their blouse a couple of buttons when an officer comes up to the window. What I'm saying is that in most of these countries, this shit does not fly. In Great Britain, with the laws that they have and the things that happened to me, there would be a lot of fucking people going to prison. Here in the United States, the way that the laws are written, yeah, these people committed felonies, but we got 10,000 loopholes for them to jump through. They can jump through the loophole. Oh, I fucking raped a woman, but I'll jump through the loophole and it magically goes away. I framed a homeless man for a crime he didn't commit, but I jumped through the hoop and it all goes away. I see a lot of the anti-homeless laws that are in Europe, and they're just as bad as the ones here, if not worse in some places. Great Britain, putting spikes all over the fucking place to deter homeless people from sleeping. You are making a very dangerous situation there. When somebody is not slept, the longer they go without sleep, the more volatile they become. Human beings have to have sleep. You do not get to punish us for having to sleep. But you do anyway. You don't want us to utilize that area so much that you will prevent everyone from being able to utilize that area. That is how much you hate us here in the United States. Every aspect of homelessness is covered by law. And why is that? Because at the end of the Civil War, the 13th Amendment made it so that slavery was actually still legal as long as you're convicted of a crime. You've got 4 million homeless black folks in the South. Just make homelessness illegal. They have to use the bathroom outside, so let's make that illegal. They have to sleep in public, so let's make that illegal. Let's arrest all of these slaves. We will take it out on the slaves that we got our asses kicked by the North. We are going to victimize the very people that we got our asses just thoroughly kicked for abusing. We're going to abuse them even worse now, because under the 13th Amendment, it's legal. Also, that homeless guy over there in the corner who just happens to be white, well, hell, nobody likes him. Fucking, we might as well fucking throw him away too. He's homeless, ain't he? We can't make laws that make it illegal for them to be black, but we can make all sorts of laws making it illegal for them to be homeless. And then we will make it impossible for them to own land. We literally had to change laws so black people could own land. We had to change those well after the Civil War. Why is that? Because the South just didn't want to let it the fuck go. This is my granddaddy's property. Our families own this land for blah, 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 and we've worked this land for blah, 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 blah. No, the slaves worked that land. Every single great nation in the history of the world has relied heavily on slavery. What is it that is so great about these great nations? Meanwhile, we got separation of church and state, but we really don't. We got judges telling innocent people that they need to get right with God. Very same judges who are letting child molesters walk free without a day in prison because they're too short. Well, hold on a second. How short was his victim compared to him? A 6-year-old, you say? Is he shorter than a 6-year-old? He's too small to make it in prison, huh? There's lots of people that dude could beat the living fuck out of because they're severely disabled. There are people in prison who have severe arthritis and have to use a fucking walker or a wheelchair with an aid to go anywhere. But we allow women to get away with it. When you had that family barbecue or the neighborhood barbecue, and that girl was yelling and screaming at her boyfriend and punching him in the head over and over and over again, and nobody calls the fucking cops. She's doing it in public for the same reason that Fuzzy Bear went out of his way to humiliate Tammy. Control. Pretty soon you're trying to please somebody who is entirely unpleasable, and the only thing that they're actually pleased by is the fact that they're making your life hell and get to watch you jumping through all these hoops to try to appease somebody who will never be fucking happy. I try to be. I try to go to positive places with positive people, but it's difficult. Shannon Alvarado's was not a positive place. Sure, she said a few positive words, but her actions, her volume, the way that she treated others, her alcohol consumption, all made it a very volatile and scary environment to be in. Most of the places I was in were like that. You know, Lanny Engeline, she did actually yell probably maybe twice, but most of the time it was just her being snappy, snapping at me no matter what I say. No matter what it is that I'm trying to tell her, I don't get to finish my first sentence without her snapping at me and treating me like shit for speaking. A man's place is to shut the fuck up, right? Here's the thing about Lana. She's a man hater. She loves penis, but hates what it's fucking attached to. To Lana, everything that happens wrong in the world is a man's fault no matter what. If a woman does something wrong, then a man must have made her do it. But it can't be the same the other way around, can it? Women commit more crimes in the United States than men. Women get away with it for a very long time. Sandy Fromm didn't get over Tobe Smith from 7 fucking years ago. From moment one, she was talking about Tobe Smith, trying to get back into Tobe Smith's life. When I realized what she was doing, I refused to take part in it anymore. When she wanted to fucking stalk Rod Heckey, no, I'm not gonna fucking help you stalk people. I am not okay with that, Sandy Fromm. But also, there's a lot of men who know that she is fucking doing this shit. And they're like, oh, I don't want to get involved. If you're gonna complain about her for an hour a day, you're involved already. If you were a witness to the bullshit, then you are involved already. If you are involved enough to tell me that Sandy Fromm is threatening to kill me and she is trying to find people to do so, you are involved. The difference between somebody playing head games and somebody who actually gives a shit is, are you going to talk to the police? Why are you telling me this shit? Why aren't you telling the police? Why aren't you telling the police that Sandy Fromm came over to your house, was threatening to kill me, and telling you about the guy that she was trying to hire to do it? but you don't want to get involved. You want to talk about, or you don't want to hear anything I have to say. When I say anything at all, you say you don't care. People have done this to me for years. I'm not talking about one specific person. I'm not. The Sandy Fromm situation is not a secluded incident. This is my fucking life since Natalie was killed. Rather, since over a year before she was killed. People telling me that they're going to help me and then doing horrible shit. People saying that they care, but then they want to be friends with my predators. They want to say something to me, but they don't want to say nothing to these people. When Jeff Baldridge asks me to not argue a Stretch, after Stretch leaves, then I can go talk to Jeff, and it can be just me and Jeff, and it's a pretty cool environment. And I ask him, I say, why is it that you always ask me to be the one to be quiet? Why don't you ever ask Stretch? And what's Jeff's response? You're the adult. Stretch is 20, possibly 30 years older than me. And Jeff Baldridge is asking me because I'm the one who's going to do the adult thing. If he asks Stretch, Stretch is going to fucking throw a goddamn tantrum, and we both know it. But Stretch is his friend. Through all of this, I tried doing the adult thing. When I am allowed to do the adult thing, great, as long as something happens. When I am being victimized and doing the adult thing doesn't stop the victimization, doesn't get me any help because I am the wrong gender to be allowed that, pretty fucked up. When I talk about my experiences of being raped in the system growing up, I'm talking about a situation that a lot of women know. A lot of women have gone through. But because I'm a man, instead of trying to understand my situation, they got to hop on there and talk about how, well, this happens more to women. This happens more to women. This happens more to women. Yeah, that's fine. I get that. I got it the first time. I already knew that when I was a kid. I saw how many girls were in there with fucking cuts on their arms. Dads are fucking gross. I get it. That is one of those statistics that's true. Your dad is far more likely to sexually molest you than your mom is. But also, your mom is more likely to get away with it, too. Do you have any idea what kind of hell a boy would have to go through if he tried to turn in his mom? Like, first of all, there's the fact that he had sex with his mom. Second of all, the fact that he was able to get it up is used as an excuse to validate the situation, despite the fact that really that doesn't validate the situation. It's okay for a 40-year-old woman to have sex with a 14-year-old boy because he got a hard on? No, it's not. Meanwhile, you can see in this town where popularity allows you to get away with doing these things. While I am victimized as if I am a Tim Beeson or a Ted Bollinger or a Kenneth Zarecki, there are no punishments for Kenneth Zarecki, who is actually doing the things that you punish me for, over rumors that I might do these things. and over slander by people who are not the person that I supposedly did things to. When people realized that I didn't kill Natalie, they didn't want to get off of their American fucking princess bullshit. Especially not Katie Whiteman or anyone like her. I'm the pretty, pretty princess. I don't deserve this. I don't. I'm the pretty, pretty princess. No, you're not pretty. You are ugly inside and out. Oh, well, it turned out Sean didn't kill this person, so I'm going to go back to pretending that he stalked her. I'm going to go back to pretending that he raped her and molested her when she was underage. And as long as I pretend that rhetoric, it is okay for me to do the evil things that I did to Sean. Isn't that right, Katie Whiteman? Isn't that right, Ashley Bowman? These are the fat girls that want to be popular. You have any idea how difficult that is? Here in Chapel, we got that going on especially bad. Lodgepole was worse, though. In Lodgepole, there were only two groups. You were either the popular group who grew up there and you're the good-looking folks, or you're the unpopular group, and the unpopular group isn't a group. It was easier not to have friends if you're unpopular in fucking Lodgepole. Because if you have one friend who is also a dork who gets picked on, and you are friends, then this popular group of kids is going to pick on both of you especially fucking hard. You got all these dorks who want to be part of the popular fucking group. You're a dumbass and you're what's wrong with the world. It is dorks like you who make the world a better place. It's also dorks like you who gives us a bad name. And that all comes down to your choice. A lot of people say you need to know your station. You need to know your place. If this is the land of equality, then my place is at the fucking top with everyone else. That's equality. We don't have that. We don't have justice. We don't have freedom. We do not have liberty. These are just words. But then when you look at the definition of those words, and then you look at our laws in the United States, you realize we do not have freedom. We do not have liberty. No part of the Constitution, other than the Second and 13th Amendment and 13th Amendments, actually exist any longer. They exist as footnotes. They exist as outdated ideas. But our laws have written out the Constitution of the United States of America, minus the one that allows you to have guns and the one that allows you to be enslaved. You'd think that the most important amendment would be the first one. That is your freedom of religion, your freedom of expression, your freedom of the fucking press, your freedom of speech. The Second Amendment was created specifically with the intent and purpose of protecting the First Amendment, of giving we, the people, the right to protect the First Amendment. But Wikipedia pretends it's a hunting law. As long as you can change the rules because they are so convoluted and fucking scummed up with crap and footnotes and loopholes and There's no such thing as justice. Either you have the money for your freedom or you don't. Either you have the money to grease those palms or those palms are going to slap across your face. Either you jump through those hoops or you just have to take the abuse for the rest of your life. Meanwhile, jumping through those hoops is abusive in and of itself. It is physically abusive. It is financially abusive. It is emotionally abusive. And it is socially fucking acceptable. You want to hate men because you dated a man who raped you, right? So now, instead of hating the man that raped you, you talk shit about all men. Well, that's pretty fucked up. You say men are this and men are that. But if I show you how that feels by saying women are this and women are that, you don't get the message. You say you're a hypocrite. You're a piece of shit for saying that. You're sexist. No, I'm not. I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that shit about women any more than I believe the shit that you're fucking selling me about men. I should know I'm a man. When you say something about men that's fucking bullshit, I know it's bullshit. It's not that American women are better than men, like they're trying to pretend with these statistics. It's that American women get away with a whole fucking shit ton more. Sandy Fromm is more the monster that you tried to paint me as than I am, but she is a female. Her consequences will be negligible if existent at all. That's just the shit that she's put me through. Quite a few felonies. And she's put Tobe through worse. She needed people to drive her around all over the place because she got busted drinking and driving. But then she wants everybody to stop by Tobe Smith's house, or drive by Tobe Smith's house, or deliver a message to Tobe fucking Smith. I want to leave Tobe alone. All right? He has served our community for a lot of fucking years. He has been good to a lot of fucking people. I called him Uncle Tobe. Uncle Tobe. Of all the people who offered to do something about these monsters, Tobe is the only one who I believed at any point in time would actually do what it is that he said that he would do. And I'm glad I told him not to. My mouth is too fucking big. If Tobe had kept his word, I would have said something. And Tobe understands that. That's why me and Tobe are our separate ways. I still have hope that we can do it the right way, whereas he's old enough to know better. And I should know better too. I know that his solution to this problem would have prevented me from being victimized over the things that Ted did after Natalie was killed. these things that Ted did repeatedly, that I was harmed over, that I had my life threatened over, these things that Ted Bollinger, Alicia Bollinger, and the police in Kansas did. And people were threatening to kill me in Rapid City, South Dakota. If I'd have given Tobe Smith the go-ahead, Ted Bollinger never would have harmed another human being his entire life. It's tough to make that guarantee if somebody might live for 100 years. But when you know that you just say the word and they're gone tomorrow, it's a lot easier to keep that word. Ted Bollinger is the monster you made me out to be. Ted Bollinger is the monster that you punished me as if I was. Same thing with Tim Beeson. These people who threatened my life and threatened to kill me, they didn't do it for the same reasons as Tobe. Tobe's first thought was my fucking safety, you son of a bitches. He didn't make this offer because of his hatred of child molesters. He made that offer because I'd never lied to him, because I had always shot him straight, because I was always true to my word. Because that's my Uncle Tobe, you son of a bitches. And I know a lot of people got their opinions on the man. He didn't do these things to be vindictive or manipulative. He didn't want people to fucking hurt me. Now I see him in passing and might tip my hat to him. He might put up a small wave if he acknowledges my existence at all. You got to understand that by that point there had been so much death that hearing another human being offering to kill another human being that wouldn't have helped. Matter of fact, there's a good possibility that it would have come right back on me and I would have been accused of murdering Ted Bollinger. Saying no was the right thing to do. But just like Candace would have shot somebody coming through the door between their eyes with a 45 to protect her children, that's where Toby Smith was at that point. Now I'm afraid to talk to him. I value his opinion. I care about his opinion. It's also scary for somebody to offer to kill someone with such seriousness in their voice. And not angry, just venting, I ought to kill that son of a bitch, but calm and collectively. Sean, you just give me the word and all your problems go away. No, Tobe, I'm not going to give you that word. I can't. And anybody who wants to judge Tobe for that, as if he were a bad person, Tobe knows all about fucking psychos. He knows all about Sandy Fromm. He's had to deal with real psychos, and you guys obviously haven't. He knows the biker world and you guys don't. He knows the drug world and you guys don't. This man has left behind sins that you guys wish you could commit. This man decided later on in his life that he was going to be a good man. He wanted to be a grandfather that his grandson could be proud of. You know, he left that life. I mean, imagine emotionally for this man who left all of that shit behind him, left that life behind him, left that side of the country entirely to come here and have a quiet life. That's what the man wants, a quiet life. He could have had the drugs and the money and the women. Well, hell, here he can still have the women. He can still get the drugs. He just doesn't want them. And the money, well, drug dealing in Chapel, Nebraska ain't exactly the most lucrative trade. But in Los Angeles, it flows like water. You got a bigger customer base. Here, we got a whole bunch of tweakers who are all paranoid of everybody else in town that they might find out that these people are tweakers, but the people they're paranoid of are also fucking tweakers. Chapel, Nebraska, folks. Now, we got laws that say that these things are illegal. The laws don't say that it's illegal for a woman and not for a man, or illegal for a man but not for a woman. The laws don't say that it's illegal for a black person but not a white person, or that it's illegal for a white person but not a black person. All of the bias comes down to individuals and what they are taught. When you're taught that women can't be the victims, well, you're not going to arrest her no matter how many times she hit him, are you? No, you're not. I mean, you guys got no idea how much respect I had for Tammy when she admitted that Christopher Tapp got fucked. Yes, he put her through hell for years. But she was still honest about the fact that Christopher Tapp did not deserve the ringing that he got in court. He did not deserve a fucking prison sentence for her beating on him. He was arrested for domestic assault. Tammy herself admitted, yeah, Christopher Tapp didn't assault me, I assaulted him. Their mutual friend Matt admitted that he didn't assault Tammy, Tammy assaulted him. But the police fucked up. And the Boulder Police Department doesn't fuck up. Not since John Benet Ramsey. Ever since John Benet Ramsey's fuck up, these cops have done everything that they can to cover for the wrongdoing of other officers. If you want the job in Boulder, then you need to learn how to operate. You operate by the orders of the city council, not by the laws of the great state of Colorado. These people are getting away with these crimes because of public opinion. The opinion that anybody who is mentally ill needs to be locked away is a good one. Where if you call them mentally ill, then all of the rights that they have as a disabled person no longer exist. But then again, if you are mentally ill, then you are disabled. And you are entitled to the rights of a disabled person, no matter what. But then again, they have different rules for when they call you mentally ill instead of disabled. Those different laws that they don't have for men or women or black or white people specifically, those laws do specifically exist to exclude the disabled, the mentally ill. All of your rights to freedom of speech, denied. Your rights to keep and bear arms, denied. Your right to face your accusers, denied. Your right to effective counsel, denied. Your right to a trial, denied. The police tortured the fuck out of me. There are witnesses from all of the facilities that I went to. Witnesses to the abuse and to the brutality. And I put their stuff right here on this fucking YouTube channel. I didn't fucking hide it like a coward. Zachy Abenada is a witness. George is a witness. There were many, many other witnesses. But they pretend that the inmates aren't humans. The cops do torture the inmates, especially in Boulder County. And Arapahoe County, when they got your number, they make your life hell. There was a guy when I was in Arapahoe County Jail. His name is Jacob Mann. The cops beat the fuck out of him. Repeatedly denied him medical care. Repeatedly abused him and threatened further abuse because he was sick. How sick in the head do you have to be to abuse an inmate who is sick? How fucked up of a human being do you have to be as a guard to tell Zachy Abenada that you're not going to give any underwear to a goat fucker? He's not a goat fucker, he's a human being. He's a Palestinian who was born in the city of Israel, or the city of Jerusalem. He showed me more love and compassion and more realism than any of these Christians coming on here and fucking commenting. He understood a lot more about the world. He was also there for abuse that I had to take. While my predators worked together, I was trying to get my witnesses to work together. Like, hey, I need your help. Try to fucking coordinate a way to get me some help and go down there with me. Make these statements. Oh, my stars typed hello. Hello, oh, my stars. Right now, talking to the fucking internet is pretty much my only friend. A lot of these people, they're not bad people, but it doesn't register to them how much I'm really doing for them, how difficult it is for me to do those things given my disabilities, or how often they're asking for my help. These people say, you wash my back, I'll wash yours. Or you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Whatever the saying is. I guess it depends on who you are and where you're from. But then I put forth the maximum effort that I fucking can. I'm doing the best that I can and putting forth every moment that I can to help you out. You are more able bodied than I am. You are more financially capable. You are in a much safer environment. A lot of these people that treated me like shit, they found out I had some money and then they want me to fix their stuff. They want me to buy their junk that I don't want. And they want to pressure me to buy their junk that I don't want. And, I buy a little bit of it, sure. I bought the crap that I don't want to make you happy so you would stop fucking harassing me about it. All right, fine, I'll buy it. Here's the money. Oh, if I dole out more money, then you'll be nicer to me for a few more days? And that's not the way that he intends it, but that sure as hell is the way that it feels to me. He wants my help tomorrow. Well, today actually, it's 1:35 a.m. here, and he wants my help at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. But I've got anxiety about it because I got my own stuff to do, and I'm on shutdown mode because I feel obligated to do what this guy wants, mostly because I need his help with the situation that he's just not going to help me with. He's a witness to the situation with Sandy Fromm. He's not going to say nothing. Sandy Fromm, just like the situation with Laura Nelson and Amanda. That's not Amanda Ingline, that would be Amanda Payne. She did what many women do. When they do something fucking terrible to you, they just run around and slander your name, and it's magically fine. It's magically okay. You have a penis, so you got to be afraid to go to the cops. A lot of victims of female supremacy are afraid to go to the cops. Women pick the same fucking people to victimize that the cops do. The same people to victimize that men do. The people that they're most likely to get away with doing it. That's not rocket science. If you live in Georgia in a fucking racist neighborhood, you know that people don't like white folks. Or if you're on the other end of town, you know that people don't like fucking black folks. You can pretend that racism doesn't exist, but that doesn't detract from the fact that it does exist and you are actively taking a part in it. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to others every time that you pretend to the contrary. And also, those of you with families who help you out all the fucking time, you are spitting in their fucking face every time you did it by yourself. Every single time you say, I did it all by myself, that's what you're doing. Spitting in their face. I don't do anything in Jesus' name. Do you know why? For starters, nobody can agree on which Jesus is the real fucking Jesus. But also, I don't want to give Jesus a black eye. Jesus didn't commit any of these crimes against me. Jesus isn't the reason that I have to do the things that I got to do in the way that I have to do them. It's not Jesus's fault that these things are happening. It's not Jesus's fault the people are using him to do the very same things that he spoke out about when he was alive. He spoke out about the Jewish people doing these terrible things. Yes, he literally spoke out against his own people doing these terrible things. And then Christians are doing these things in Jesus' name. The things that Jesus was angry about people doing in God's name, his followers are doing in his. How can you claim that you're his follower if you're doing the exact things he said not to do? And you're doing it in his name. You're giving him a black eye. See, it's not Jesus that I'm pissed off at when these Christians come out here and start spouting their irrelevant bullshit. They are completely ignorant of the goddamn situation, but they want to come on here and push their Jesus. Well, okay then. That's a perfect example of people wanting to give advice who aren't willing to find out what the fuck is going on. You have no idea how many people that I went to the Chapel Assembly of God with who use the N-word on a daily basis, who blame everything on blacks and Mexicans, who absolutely hate Muslims. No Muslim has ever harmed these people. Most of these people have never met a Muslim. And if they did, they probably didn't know it. Oh, my stars typed, I'm sorry people are disappointing you. Well, I'm not Jesus. Who cares if I'm disappointed? See, that's the thing, is according to these supposed Christians, we're all going to be judged by God when we die. They don't think that they're going to be judged for being judgmental. They don't think that they're going to be judged for being hypocritical. They don't think that they're going to be judged for the harm that they brought on to others in Jesus' name. You don't think that Jesus is going to be pissed off about you killing people in his name? I wonder how many crusaders are burning in hell right now going, well, I didn't know. Yes, you did fucking know. You know that you wouldn't like it if that happened to you, and somebody else shouldn't have to do it to you to prove that fucking point. I shouldn't have to threaten all of these people who threaten my life. I shouldn't have to threaten them back to show them what it feels like. Nobody cared that these people were threatening me. By the fucking droves. But when I threaten them back, everybody fucking gives a shit. We gotta have us a Schwartz and lynching. We love us some lynching. Let's get us a rope and string up Schwartzy from a fucking tree. Lovely fucking mentality. Let's skip the formalities and just get straight to the hanging. Ain't no reason to waste American tax dollars having a kangaroo court. If you have already decided the outcome, then just fucking do it. If you don't have to look at evidence to know that you want to shoot me in the head, then shoot me in the fucking head. Plain and simple. Now, speaking of shooting myself in the head, or you shooting me in the head, or anybody else doing so, I had a few people commenting at me because they saw these things in the background. Sean, just don't shoot yourself. If I shot myself in the head with a fucking Nerf dart, it's made out of fucking foam. I'm not even gonna get a fucking welt out of it. This one, it fires red fucking plastic BBs that are this goddamn big. If I shot myself point blank with that, I would probably get a welt and possibly a bruise. But it's not gonna kill me. This one right here, it's a BB gun. It fires tiny fucking metal BBs. If I could find my fucking, I got a container with 6,000 BBs in it. So I could show you how fucking tiny those BBs are. If I shot myself in the head with those BBs, I would probably give myself a severe headache. I would probably be digging them out of the side of my head for days, especially if I turned it on full auto. Yes, I have a full auto BB gun. That full auto BB gun is not going to kill me. I'm telling you, I need help stopping the abuse. The abuse that I want my life to end because of. But you want to ignore the abuse. You want to pretend like if I never get on the internet ever again, that I'm never going to have problems with Chris Kurth ever again. I'm never going to have problems with Sandy Fromm ever again. The people that I see perpetrating the rape society the most are the women who are being raped. The women who I see perpetrating this or taking part in this dominant fucking women beating fucking bullshit. The victims are protecting their predators. You're bitching about men are terrible because men beat women while you are literally protecting the specific man who beats on you. You're projecting onto all men the actions of the man whose cock that you just had in your mouth. You are projecting onto all men and treating all men like they are the villains for the actions of the man that you just let throw his baby seeds into your vagina. You've probably even taken part in helping that man victimize innocent people. But you've got them excuses you can fall back on, don't you? If you victimize your next door neighbor who's a Vietnam veteran, there's going to be consequences. If you victimize the neighbor on the other side who is called mentally ill, you can do whatever you want. Whatever you want. Nobody cares about the mentally ill. Not enough to actually do something other than make empty promises. Like Kayla Trujillo did. Like Ingeline did. Like Amanda Ingeline did. When Amanda Payne got all fucked up on drugs and then ran around town slandering my name, claiming that I was the one on drugs, Laura Nelson was witness to that too. How did I know that Miss Laura Nelson was a fucking coward who probably wasn't going to come forward? Because she had a history of being a coward and not coming forward. Now, if the news station come up and put a microphone in her face and said, "Hey, did Amanda Payne come down to your establishment and claim to you that Sean was on methamphetamines, must have been on methamphetamines because he was hanging out with Andrew Witcher. And by the way, that very weekend, after running around and slandering my name like that, guess who Amanda had out at her fucking house? Andrew and Amy Witcher. the people who she was claiming that I must have been on meth because I hung out with. Andrew will admit, well, he might not now that the cat's out of bag about him being a fucking child molester and a meth head, but prior to that, he would have admitted I've never done meth with him. He's never seen me on meth. He's never seen me do meth. Then again, I had to record Casey, one of his ex-girlfriends, in order to show the truth, in order to show another witness. See, the thing is that there are hundreds of conversations recorded with witnesses on this very YouTube that show that I've been telling the truth all along. But it's fine. You pretend that I'm some schizophrenic who's blaming this shit on aliens and the Illuminati and shit like that. No, these people who did these things had very selfish motivations. It wasn't some fucking higher power telling them to do this evil shit. That's schizophrenic as all fuck. If God is telling you to do bad shit to other people, it's not God. You are schizophrenic. You are literally schizophrenic. You do need the kind of help that people try to keep pretending that I need. But I'm not running around blaming this shit on the Illuminati and aliens and shit like that. I got treated like I was schizophrenic for saying that I was abused by police officers. Police officers who were later on the news for fucking killing people. So don't give me your bullshit. Oh, my stars type, George Carlin. Think of how stupid the average person is, and realize half of them are stupider than that. That's right. It sucks having an IQ of 172 in a nation full of people with an IQ of 85 who act like they got an IQ of fucking 60. Congratulations, you can burp and fart. You're an American. Good night. Keep an eye out for your kids. Don't just trust someone because they're female. Miss Jerry did that. Miss Jerry worked in foster care up there in Montana with infants and babies. And her coworker had sex with her 13 and later 14-year-old son. Miss Jerry trusted this woman, and this woman, like many women, is actually a predator. And she will continue her predatory activities until something is done about it. The cops don't want to do their job because she's a girl? Well, those cops need to be arrested. They don't deserve to have their jobs. Merry goddamn Christmas, motherfuckers.